Good morning, good afternoon, based on where you're located in the earth. I am Mohammed Jinan, Senior Technology Consultant here in Seclor. So I hope that you can see my screen. Priyanka, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So first of all, I'll thank you all to be here in the webinar. The webinar will be divided in two sections. The first section is about Seclor and how we do integrate with McAfee. And the second section will be dedicated for McAfee as a DLP solution. So basically, I'll be your speaker for the first half, and let's get it going. So actually, before starting with the solution and or the problem that we are trying to solve, let's try to identify what kind of data types that any organization might have. So typically, an organization will be having a different type of files. Usually, the structured data, which is documents and information that is stored in databases, where you have certain applications regulating who has access to these files. Solutions like SAP, IBM FileNet, Microsoft SharePoint, all these solutions will be able to give you access to certain documents and certain information. Now, the thing is, once a user is using these kinds of application, they tend to either export or extract certain data and documents. And this data and documents will be in the unstructured data format. And this unstructured data format will be available in their computers, laptop, and data storage. So you can see here that there's a challenge that organization will be facing, how to keep this data secure no matter where it is. Now, these are some highlights on what's happening and some studies and reports what's happening with the censored data at organization. Now, there is reports that says censored data actually leaves an organization every 49 minutes. You can imagine organization, the hassle that they are going through in order to keep this data secure. And even if they keep the data secure, 32% of these breaches that happens doesn't happen from your organization. It might happen from your business partners, meaning you are having all the security measures, but when you are sharing and collaborating with your business partners, they don't have the necessary measures in place in order to protect your sensitive data. So that's a concern that the organization might have. Also, we have noticed that file sync and share solutions has dramatically grown. People are using cloud services and file share solutions all over the place in order because the collaboration has increased, and 72% an increase that has been shown in 2015. Also, organizations are having a huge financial impact when it comes to intellectual property theft. Over $300 billion has been reported as an effect of the theft of IP intellectual property. Now, if we go and jump back to the insurance and healthcare, the reports have identified that over 25% of the sensitive data of the patients is being actually shared with external entities. These files are being shared outside the organization. And my favorite is, if you go to any business and ask most of the employees, they will tell you that most of them, they had actually sent by mistake to the wrong person. So this raised, all these reports and all these studies raise the question, what can we do in these kinds of scenarios? How can we mitigate this risk, and how can we have the total control on our files and documents no matter where these documents are going? So if we see the main problem here, and if we try to analyze how do you lose control on your data. So if you are the file owner, you're creating certain documents, and let's say you are a head of a department or a CEO or CFO of an organization, and you have it, and you're having some sensitive data. Now, many cases comes where you need to collaborate with internal users or external entities, and you need to share with them this confidential data. So you can share it through file share, email, or cloud services. Now we notice that once the files or documents leave your organization or leave your system and reach to the contractors, suppliers, prospect, or even internal employees, you lose the control on this data. You have no trace what is happening on this data, and this data is not protected. So the data can be shared to a competitor, or worse, it could be sold in the black market or leaked on the World Wide Web. And also we have, I mean, most of the organization in this digital era, they do have collaboration needs. So they need to collaborate externally, whether it's with internal users, which are working on a remote areas, or with partners and vendors. So the organization will need to use collaboration and would need to share sensitive data with partners and vendors. But that doesn't change the fact that they need to have a mechanism to keep this data secure no matter where it goes. Now, most of the organization, they focus on parameter solutions. These solutions are very essential and very crucial to any organization, applying a proper firewall, applying a proper DLP to keep the data secured and to keep the data, to prevent the data from leaking outside the organization. But this solution by itself, it will not help 100% when it comes to data collaboration and sharing the data with external entities. So Seclore comes in picture in this particular scenarios. So if you have sensitive data that you are sharing internally or externally, we will protect this data, and we are using data-centric security mechanisms. So in Seclore, we do have 4 pillars. We call them the 4 W's. So the first W, it's who, the second is what, when, and where. So let's go a little bit in details and identify and understand what are those protection pillars. First of all, it's who. Who has access to this confidential data that you are sharing? The users could be internal users, meaning we do integrate with your Active Directory to read your internal users and groups. Also, Seclore provide you with a mechanism to enable you to protect data with external users. So we have a transparent and amazing workflow in order to enroll external users to the solution. Now, when you decided with who you're gonna share the files with, now the next question comes, what they can do with this particular data. So in here, we introduce the concept of granular controls. So if you have the rights to access a particular data, can you print that data? Can you edit? Can you save it? Can you take a screenshot? Can you copy the content of that data? All those granular controls, Seclore will be able to protect and enforce those policies. And then if we go to the when, once you have shared the document with a particular user or particular group, you need to identify, do they have access to this data all the time, or do I need to set an expiry date to a particular file? Meaning, if you are dealing with a vendor or with a partner or with an auditor, and you are sharing confidential data with them, maybe they need to work on these confidential data for a specific period of time. So you can specify that the file will be accessible between certain time frame from date A to date B. Or you can say that once a user has access to a particular file, they can work on that file for 5 days or 6 days. And then after that, the file will expire and the user will not have access to that file anymore. And the last W, it's where. In Seclore, you will be able to add IP-based restriction and device-based restriction. So based on IP addresses, you can define from where the user will be able to open a particular document. And also, you can restrict those confidential data and protect document to be open on a specific device. So if I am a user, I try to open a file on my system. If I take the same file with my same credential and try to open to another device, that file will not open. So you can notice here that with our security pillar, we make sure that the security is embedded with a document or with your information confidential documents. and it's always persistent. So persistency, it's something very important here. No matter where the file is located, no matter how the file is being transported across devices, application, or networks, the protection will always persist with the document itself or with the data itself. We do have a remote control capability, meaning at any point of time, if you decided to change the permission, you decided to revoke access to a particular document, you will be able to do so. Now, something very important, that is protecting the data while it's in use. So this is a little bit different than data encryption, where the data is protected only at rest or in transit. In Seclore, we protect the data while it's in use also. So while the data is in use, you can define what the user can do. This will take us to the granular control, meaning restricting the user from printing, copying the data, saving the data, maybe taking a screenshot of the document. All these kinds of control, you will be able to add it on a particular document or file. Now, the next questions, the logical questions, what are the file formats supported by Seclore? So we do have 60+ file format that we natively support. These files range from documents, Excel, PPT, PDF, images, Adobe files, AutoCAD drawings. So we do have a large set of files that we are supporting. And the great thing here is when we protect a file from these supported file formats, the file extensions doesn't change. So if you protect a PDF file, the extension of the PDF, it will stay .pdf. And when the user is trying to open it, it will open in the native application, meaning the file will be open in Adobe Reader. If they have, if they don't have access to that particular document, they will be faced with a buffer file directing them that this file is being protected and with instruction to view the particular document. If the user is having rights to that document, then the document will open directly in the native application. Now, going back, how we can apply these kinds of policies and these kinds of rules on your documents that reside in your network and in your organization. So we do have a tight integration with McAfee DLP, where the document can be tagged and classified, and then McAfee DLP will be having a process monitor on all the process that happens on the endpoints. It will be able to monitor and identify the sensitive data, whether it's based on classifications or based on certain keywords. And based on this, it will call the APIs of Seclore in order to protect the identified data. So it will call Seclore policy server, and based on the policies defined in McAfee DLP rules, we will be able to apply different rules on this protected documents. So user A might have view only on a particular document, and in the same document, maybe user B will be having view and edit, and all other users will not have access, and they will be unauthorized to access this particular document. So this integration is very tight. We do have a connector with McAfee, and here it's a visualization. How does this work? So basically, if you log into the DLP policy manager, you will be able to access your DLP rules. And if you see here in the conditions, you can specify different conditions based on classifications or based on other conditions. So once you are defining your conditions, how you can identify sensitive documents, then you will be able to define the reaction. What kind of reaction the McAfee DLP will be doing. And here you can see that we have a preventive action, which is to apply a rights management policy from Seclore. And which policy that we will be applying? We will be applying a policy called sales confidential. So here I have an example of a document where it has a certain keyword. Now it could be having a certain keyword, it could be having certain classification. So based on the keywords or classification, the minute that I save this file or drag it and save it or move it to a specific location, based on the rules that are available on the McAfee DLP, it will trigger and it will apply those restrictions. In this case, the policy that we have defined has been applied on the document, and you can see that there is a small red icon of Seclor, meaning that this file is being protected. Now, what does it mean that a file is being protected? If we go here, this is just a couple of screenshots. The first one is we tried to have the document printed. You can notice that a message popped up. You are not authorized to print this particular document. And also we tried to copy the content to another document. You can see that the content of the clipboard will be changed to a default sentence from Seclor that you are not authorized to copy the content of this particular document. Of course, these are only few restrictions that we can apply. We can restrict based on printing, copying the content, taking screenshots, or editing the document. So we do have granular controls and granular policies that you can apply on these sensitive documents. And the great thing here is all the actions that has been performed on a particular protected document, all these actions are logged, and you'll be able to see who is doing these actions. Let's say here I have Mike Morgan. He tried to capture a screen, he tried to view, he tried to print, and he tried to edit. And I can see here if these action has been authorized. I have yes and no here, and I will be able to drill deep and identify the computer name, the IP address, and all the forensics details. So this is an extremely useful tool for you to monitor and track what are the actions performed on your sensitive data. So what I'll be doing right now, I'll be going through a quick demo, a quick video demo on how the integration with McAfee works. So if you see here, we are trying to log into the ePolicy orchestrator of McAfee. Now, once we logged in and we can see the dashboard, the usual dashboard, we go to the DLP Policy Manager, and here we access our DLP rules. And in the discovery, we select our rules. You can see here that we have a rule, a conditions based on a classification. And if we go to the reaction, we see that we can apply rights management policies from Seclor, and it will be applying the sales confidential policy. So once we save this rule, the next step is to go back to the policy assignment. We select the policy and we select that policy. You can see that the policy is applied successfully. So once the policy is applied successfully, meaning that rule now is on place. So if the endpoint DLP right now identifies certain documents with a classification, with a certain classification, or with a certain keyword, it will be applying this particular policy from Seclor. So if we go here, you can see that I have a document which is not protected for the time being. If I move this document to a location inside my system, you can see that the document has been protected. So I'm moving again the document, and right now the document having the file protected by Seclor. And if we go to the endpoint, we can see that the file is being monitored and protected by rights management. And this is the particular rules that has been applied on that document. So in here we can take an automatic approach of document protection in our organization. You can use both McAfee DLP and Seclor information rights management to apply documents rights management protection on your files within the organization. So the DLP, McAfee DLP, will do the data discovery within the endpoints, and when it finds certain classifications or certain keywords, it will call Seclore in order to protect these documents. So going back to Seclore, Seclore has been the first independent enterprise right management to go to the market in 2010. In 2012, we've been the first to provide actually connectors for leading DLP and ECM solutions. So if you take solutions like SharePoint, IBM FileNet, all those ECM solutions and DLPs like McAfee. So we are having connectors with leading solutions, enterprise solutions. In 2013, we were the first to offer agentless solutions where you will be able to access protected documents directly in the browser without the need to install any plugins. And in 2014, we have achieved the certification for innovative SAP ERP connectors. So we do have also connectors with ERP from SAP, where files, when they are being extracted from the ERP, they will be automatically protected. In 2015, we were the first to release a unique policy federation mechanism, meaning if we are integrating with an ECM solution, you don't need to keep track on the policies both in Seclore and on the ECM solution. Whatever policies are configured on the ECM solution, it will be federated to the Seclore policy server, and the rights will be dynamically changed. So if a policy has changed in the ECM solution, it will be dynamically applied on Seclore policy server. In 2016, we were the first to achieve native support of all file types and across different devices and OS. And finally, in 2017, we are the first to achieve a full agentless enterprise rights management solution, meaning if you have a Word document, an Excel document, or a PPT document that is protected by Seclore, you will be able to open those documents in a browser, and not just open those files. You will be actually able to work on those files directly on the browser without the need for any applications. So even the native applications of Microsoft Office, you will not need these applications. Our solution will be rendering a full editor in the browser where you can access and edit your protected document without having any agents. And finally, Seclore has been identified as a market leader by the industry we have multiple awards. Actually, in 2017, we had the Cybersecurity and Info Security Global Excellence Awards. Seclore has been the top ERM solution by Frost & Sullivan, which is an independent industry, recognized by Gartner for our technical innovation in ERM. So all these awards and all these recognitions has been giving us from the industry. And with this note, I will be shifting the hands to our colleague Rolf to continue on the McAfee part. So Rolf, I'll be passing the hand for you can continue your part.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everybody. In the meantime, so let me share my screen. All right. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, Rolf. Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Also welcome from my side here. My name is Rolf Haase. I'm an enterprise technology specialist at McAfee during the past years. So I'm almost over 17 years in this organization, and I'm taking care about here in EMEA as a core specialist on our data loss prevention product line, and also our cloud product and web products in the cloud on-prem. But today I want to give you a short overview what McAfee is, first of all, and how we also do the integration from our point of view regards to the product DLP with the Seclore solution. So first of all, a short word about McAfee. As you may know, McAfee is a long branding name. We are since decades on the market. Since April this year, we have been spinned out from Intel. So Intel has still 49% of McAfee, but 51% is an investor capital company called TPG. And so McAfee, since April this year, now a complete independent company again. And we have, let's say, the benefit to be still potentially part of Intel with all the technology investments we get from them. But also we have now the possibility to do a lot of fast acquisitions and go further to the market on IT security. So by the way, we acquired last week, or we make the announcement to acquire SkyHigh. This is just one example on our marketing position here. So what we have in the past years, and this is not new, McAfee has we call that Security Innovation Alliance. And we have over 150 technology partner right now where companies like Cisco or Avecto or whatever you named here, we have a big range of different companies here, have integrated our solution with them and vice versa. And we did that also with Cellclor in 2013. So Cellclor did also this kind of integration with their document right management system and with our own DLP solution. And I want to highlight in the next slides a little bit more deeper what is the win-win situation when you're using a traditional DLP solution combined with a document right management system where the security properties are aimed on the document versus to protect the perimeter or cloud or endpoints or network parts against data exfiltration. So again, Cellclor is a well-known partner since many years, and we integrated different parts, technology spoken, right? So you have seen that from the demonstration of Mohammed a couple of minutes back, that we have a policy-based user access to data and documents, which means you can create user-based policies based on specific attributes, and you can apply, of course, also, for example, security mechanism, which has to be done by a digital right management system. Vice versa, we see here in our solution a little bit maybe more of other file aspects, right? So we are not going just about human readable content, which we can protect with our DLP solution. We can even protect and we can analyze, of course, also binary code. And therefore, we are completely file independent with our DLP solution. That means we can even protect a 1 byte file on the same way as we can protect the binary execution file on the file system. But the ecosystem between the partnership between Cellclor and us is really nice because we can combine both advantages from both solution perspective, right? So if you want to have a data exfiltration protection product in place, which is from the file-based situation, that means from a DRM perspective, RM perspective, and on the other side with our DLP classical approach. So what is the challenge which we are facing right now, right? We see more and more cloud comes up, right? So you see that all the time, Office 365, Google Hangouts, or whatever you like to use. The cloud is everywhere, and the other big challenge today is also that you're using more and more unmanaged clients. And this makes, let's say, data protection somehow a little bit more difficult because you need to have APIs in place, which also aims directly to cloud providers to make sure that you are able to see visible which kind of documents are somewhere and how you can protect them. And this is also a challenge in the classical DLP world. And I want to show you how we can survive this. So first of all, the other type of challenges which we see in the market is also the visibility part, right? Because today, custom billions, trillions of files somewhere located, still located a couple of months, years back on a file server, on a share, whatever you want. And the limitation of visibility is a core problem right now, because Data loss means also that you can even leverage or exfiltrate data which is old, right, and not actual, but still under a privacy or confidential banner mark. And also, as said before, you can use tons of applications tunneled over a browser, and there are thousands of applications available where you can exfiltrate data on the easiest way. You're using a web browser to upload to a web mailer, right, a file, but you can also tunnel applications over WebEx or Skype or whatever you want to use, and to exfiltrate also with that channels data in and out. And this is exactly what we are trying to do, right? So we are controlling the borderlines. We can go into the visibility of this application, and we can look into different protocols which are used, even they are end-to-end encrypted, because we have technologies like an SSL proxy in place, where we can inherit with a proxy technology SSL protected communication, and we can really look into the content and into attributes of files which may be transported end-to-end encrypted out of your controlled environment. And these are big challenges which we are facing right now. So what we have now is an ecosystem. We call that pervasive data protection, which combines different technologies together. One part is our DLP solution, which I explained here a little bit, but also we have encryption in place. We have our web gateway solution in place, which can go into protocol analytics on different shadow IT applications you might have. But also we have a deep integration into other third-party vendors like Bowden James or Titus, or even we can use other DRM solution. But specifically for Celcro, we have a really nice integration here. What we can also provide is to protect the documents with that Celcro attributes, to enforce that kind of let's say protection to this document, and vice versa, to apply a specific policy on the borderline on the cloud side, that we are trying to prevent that an action from a user will be established without the permissions of the company and the organization. Visibility is another big part, because visibility takes care about what are going around in your organization, and we can even see visibility from different mechanisms, from the application point of view, from a reputation point of view of an application, which are trying to access classified data. And furthermore, we can also see the combination of an infiltration attack, of a virus or target attack, which occurs to you and goes to a classified document, as to with the goal to exfiltrate. So this is, let's say, the bridge between infiltration and exfiltration technology, which we can also use. And of course, different compliance and regularias are also in place, which needs to be fulfilled, and therefore we have a lot of compliance and presets available where customer can use that set of compliance regularities. What we're doing is we are covering all these three areas: data in use at the endpoint, data at rest where data is already located, right, or data in motion. A big point here is that we are supporting more the cloud elements more and more, because the world is going to move into a cloud environment, right? And even if you not trust the cloud 100% because you're using that as a cloud storage or as a cloud infrastructure provider, you may use encryption on top. And this may also give you the possibility to protect the storage area of your third-party cloud with our encryption technology. On top, of course, you can claim the write management to the document itself, right? Which means you can also protect the document with all these possibilities, what different file formats are supporting. But at the end of the day, you can even say here as a different layer, okay, I'm not trusting 100% this cloud storage provider somewhere else in the market, and I want to use encryption as a baseline, that I have a complete invisibility situation about which kind of documents are even stored in the cloud area. So we do that agent-based on the one hand side for managed clients. We do that agentless with our network DLP solution, and we do that over API integrations and third-party products, even to the cloud, like for example with SkyHigh, that we can also apply security policies over an Office 365 API natively into the cloud. Everything will be managed by EPO, and you have seen that also in the demo from Mohammed in the second ago. Even the connectors and the policies which you are doing with SailCloud together will be done over EPO as a single point of management. So we can manage by different tenants and user roles, different scopes and mechanism based from data infiltration, as said before, until up to data exfiltration products. So we do that over the ingress points, the gateways, the repositories, the clouds, or the managed or unmanaged endpoints. And the EPO is, as you may know, I'm not sure how many people have seen our EPO management tool, is a really nice tool. You can drill down directly into the reports, and you have an incident management in place specifically for our DLP solution, right? Where you can handle different incidences together in a case, and you have the visibility of every single problem which may occur in your organization. And the direct path is also that we can do reactions directly as an action when a specific situation occurs in your organization. For example, to send out a trigger to the SailCloud management system that a specific documents needs protected on that or that way. What we are also supporting, and this is really nice here, we have even a nice, let's say, educational element in our DLP solution. We call it justification. That means if for example, a user has a critical internal document with customer data, and normally it's protected by your SailCloud solution, or it has banned with some classification tools directly in the content in the document itself, let's say an Excel sheet. But this guy needs now to send out this document sheet to an external marketing agency because you want to plan a customer event with your customer, right? In that specific use case, you have a specific use case that you are allowing to have the situation maybe in place that specific customer data may needs to be exported by email. So what you can do here is you can control this mechanism, and then you can pop up directly with our Outlook integration a justification page. That means if something is critical or has a specific classification or content in place, the user have to enable why he has to do that. Either he can pre-select different predefined text wording, or he can also authorize with their own text specific file information for the for his justification. And so therefore, right, he did after he did this justification, this record will be recorded as a, let's say, a compliance record in our EPO, and you have always the valid custody chain of all what happened with that specific document on that or that user with that time and that action. So this is a nice one, because at the end of the day, with that kind of, let's say, training approach to the user, people will be always educated. They are working with critical data once they are working against a standard policy. And we came out to the situation that 75% of risk behaviors has been drilled down because people are taking more care about what they are doing with the documents. The other part is, as said before, we are also able to protect the cloud very carefully. So even if you're using Dropbox, OneDrive, whatever you want, we have a lot of API integration in place, also to SharePoint Online, for example. And this is a big challenge today because you cannot go directly and natively to a file system, right? So you'll have to use APIs in place. And we can do that also with a specific cloud protection rules, also in combination, of course, with the SailCloud part, right? So in that particular case, if a cloud protection rule is in place to protect everything which goes to Google Drive, must be encrypted and must be protected by a SailCloud digital right management rule, this is an easy step, right? So you can apply both mechanism. You can say, okay, I want to control it. I want to have a justification. I want to have that an RMI policy is in place. And I want also to encrypt the data on top with an encryption technology, which you own as a company, the encryption key. So we provide that also in combination with our encryption technology. What we also can do directly out of the system is a manual classification. It's similar maybe to that what Cellclaw can do, but we can do that also from our side, supporting also the XMP standard from Adobe with all the alternative data streams and JPEGs and movie stuff and all the stuff, but on top also, of course, the Office documents where we can embed directly inside the document the manual classification. So what we do at the end of the day is we support both approaches. We can classify the document outside the document, which means no changes on the file hash, no changes on the file attributes, no changes on the date and time of the file. And even we can do that with executables, as said before, right? So we can tag a file based on the NTFS alternative data stream on the file system. And this gives a lot of wider approaches also to protect the borderline of your organization with that kind of classification approach. With that, I wanted just to give you a short overview about what we do with our DLP solution combined with the Cellclaw digital right management solution. So any questions from your side? I'm not sure if we can move back to Anikta or to...
Hi, hi Rolf. Yeah, thank you so much. I would take from here the question answer session. So thank you, Janelle and Mr. Rolf, for this great session and throwing light on Cellclaw ERM and the McAfee DLP integration capabilities and how we can achieve data-centric security objectives. So with this, I would now like to take up the question and answer session. So, so the questions that are popping up, I would take one by one. The first one that has come up is, how can Cellclaw help comply with industry compliances and regulations? So, Mr. Janan, if you would like to take this up.
Yes, sure. So basically in Cellclaw, we do help organizations to comply with different industry standards and compliances. So, and depends on the region and depends on what kind of standard, what kind of compliance you have. We will be able to assist you on these to comply to these standards. So basically, I mean, if you are dealing with some European countries and you are having some compliances from Europe, like the GDPR, then we do have a white paper how we can help you out and how can Cellclaw help you out into satisfying this compliance. And if you are in the region, say in the UAE, for example, we do have the NISA compliance, where we also have a white paper on how to help you out in order to comply to this regulations. So it depends on where are you in the where are you exactly and what kind of compliances that do you have. Usually and most of the time, Cellclaw does help you into complying with any regulation or with any compliance that has a requirement for data protection. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, good. Yeah, Janelle, thank you so much for the answer. So I would like to take up the second one, the second question, that is, can we have a DLP specific Cellclaw protected Office document wherein users can send via Outlook? Rolf, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. What we do is we have a directly plug-in into Outlook or other key application, killer application. That means once Cellclaw protection is already present in a document, right? We can directly see that kind of classification, and we can directly block out with our DLP solution when somebody tries to send them out over Outlook. And this includes also, as said before, the possibility to have justification or notification pop-ups in place. And this gives also a kind of educational thing, right? So because people has the direct feedback when they do an action, and this is not based on a specific policy. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Rolf. Now the one more question, that is how Seclor is different than encryption. Jinan, would you like to take it?
Yeah, sure. I think I'm gonna take this one. So basically, if you see the encryption and Seclor, how actually it's different from each other. So both solutions, they do encrypt documents. So even in Seclor, we do encrypt documents. But mainly, if you go to an encryption solution, basically what it does, it encrypt a document, and you need either to have an decryption key, or you need to have some kind of password in order to decrypt the data. So, and typically this protection is available only when the data is in rest or when the data is on transit. So the main differentiator in Seclor that we do protect the data when it is on rest and when it's on transit, but also we do add the protection for the data while it's in use. So even when the data is in use, we are having some granular control on it, and the data is also protected while it's in use.
Okay, great, Mr. Jinan. Thank you for the answer. I think I can take up one more question. So it is, can we have a combined Seclor and McAfee DLP and McAfee encryption together?
Yes, sure. Okay, I will take that over.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, indeed. As said before, many customers are using our DLP solution with our encryption. And on top, of course, you can also combine that with the Seclor solution, because that is more document-based, right? And our encryption is based on the file system or on the cloud elements. So yes, of course, you can combine that together, and it's completely integratable and works proper as expected. So yeah, no problem. Sure.
Great. Thank you, Rolf. Yeah, so I think we still have time on our hands, so I would take up one more question. Can I use Seclor with my in-house build applications?
Okay, I think that question is for me.
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, if you do have in-house build applications, in Seclor we do provide APIs and SDKs. So if you are developing some applications in Java or .NET framework, you can use our SDKs in order to use Seclor technology. And also, if you have some web applications, we do provide APIs as web services. So you can also call our APIs in order to add Seclor capabilities in your application.
Okay. Yeah. So the last question for the today's session is, do I need McAfee DLP to use Seclor? Again, Jinan, if you would like to take this up.
Okay, so I mean, both solutions are totally independent. You can use McAfee by itself. You can use Seclor by itself. But again, I mean, we do have a very tight integration with McAfee, and our products works really well. So yes, you can use McAfee by itself. You can use Seclor by itself. But when you combine them both together, you are, having better returns on your efforts. Where McAfee can do the discovery, and then Seclor can protect, can be adding the rights management to the documents.
Great. Thank you, Mohammed Jinan. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rolf. So with this note, I would like to end this particular webinar. So thank you all of you who have joined us today. And due to time constraint, if you missed out on any of the questions that have come, we'll surely reply to them. And you can also write to us if you have additional questions. And yeah, the recording of this session would be sent to you in another 2 days or so. And meanwhile, if you have any feedbacks, do let us know, and any suggestions. Thank you so much once again. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. See ya.
Thank you also.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.